Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo 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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Surabhyaya Namaha
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 Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yat kripatamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Yat kripatamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Bhagavatam class. We are continuing yesterday's 7th canto, the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 11, entitled The Perfect Society for Social Classes, and text number 35. Yasya Yal Lakshanam Proktam Purusho Pumso Varna Abhivyanjakam Yad
Anyatrapi
Drishyeta Tat Tenaiva Vinirdishet Yasya Yal Lakshanam Proktam Pumso Varna Bhivyanjakam Yadanyatrapi Drishyeta Tattenaiva Vinirdishet Yasya Yal Lakshanam Proktam Pumso Varna Bhivyanjakam Yad Anyatrapi Drishyeta Tattenaiva Vinirdishet Yasya Yal Lakshanam Proktam Pumso Varna Bhivyanjakam Yad Anyatrapi Drishyeta Tattenaiva Vinirdishet
Yasya Yallakshanam Proktam Pumso Varnabhivyanjakam Yadanyatrapi Drishyeta Tattenaiva Vinirdishet Yasya Yallakshanam Proktam Pumso Varnabhivyanjakam Yadanyatrapi Drishyeta Tattenaiva Vinirdishet.
One more.
Yasya Yallakshanam Proktam पुंसो वर्णाभिव्यञ्जकम्
यदन्यत्रापि दृश्येत
यदन्यत्रापि दृश्येत
तत्तेनैव विनिर्दिशेत्
तत्तेनैव विनिर्दिशेत्
Yasya
यस्य
of whom
of whom
yat
यत्
which
which
lakshanam
लक्षणं
symptom
symptom
proktam
प्रोक्तं
described above
described above
pumsaha
पुंसः
of a person
of a person
varna
वर्ण
abhivyanjakam
अभिव्यञ्जकं
indicating
indicating
the classification
the classification
brahmana kshatriya vaishya shudra
ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय वैश्य शूद्र
etc
etc.
yat
यत्
if
if
anyatra
अन्यत्र
elsewhere
elsewhere
api
अपि
also
also
drishyeta
दृश्येत
is seen
is seen
tat
तत्
that
that
tena
तेन
by that symptom
by that symptom
eva
eva
certainly
certainly
vinirdishat
vinirdiset
one should designate
one should designate.
Vinirdishat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra, as described above, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. Kindly repeat after me. If one shows the symptoms
If one shows the symptoms
of being a Brahmana,
of being a Brahmana,
Kshatriya,
Kshatriya,
Vaishya or Shudra,
Vaishya or Shudra,
as described above,
as described above,
even if he has appeared
even if he has appeared
in a different class,
in a different class,
he should be accepted
he should be accepted
according to those symptoms
according to those symptoms
of classification.
of classification.
Purport. Herein it is clearly stated by Narada Muni that one should not be accepted as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra according to birth, for although this is going on now, it is not accepted by the Shastras. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Satur Varnyam Maya Sristam Gunakarma Vibhagashaha. Thus, the four divisions of society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, are to be ascertained according to qualities and activities. If one is born in a Brahmana family and has acquired the Brahminical qualifications, he is to be accepted as a Brahmana. Otherwise, he should be considered a Brahmabandhu. Similarly, if a Shudra acquires the qualities of a Brahmana, although he was born in a Shudra family, he is not a Shudra. Because he has developed the qualities of a Brahmana, he should be accepted as a Brahmana. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to develop these Brahminical qualities. Regardless of the community in which one was born, if one develops the qualities of a Brahmana, he should be accepted as a Brahmana, and he then may be offered the order of sannyas. Unless one is qualified in terms of the Brahminical symptoms, one cannot take sannyas. In designating a person as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra, birth is not the essential symptom. And this understanding is very important. Herein, Narada Muni distinctly says that one may be accepted according to the caste of his birth, if he has the corresponding qualifications, but otherwise he should not. One who has attained the qualifications of a Brahmana, regardless of where he was born, should be accepted as a Brahmana. Similarly, if one has developed the qualities of a Shudra or a Chandala, regardless of where he was born, he should be accepted in terms of those symptoms. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 7th Canto, 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Perfect Society for Social Classes. Somebody can read the translation again? Loudly? The translation.
If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Sudra, as described above, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification.
Yes. So on many occasions, Srila Prabhupada would be making this point and quoting, as he does here as well in the purport, the verse from 4th chapter, Chatur Varnam Maya Sistam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. So, Guna and Karma, according to the qualities. And Prabhupada explains that actually through association one can develop these qualities. Through association one can develop Brahmanical qualities. Ultimately, we are all, as practicing and aspiring Vaishnavas, meant to develop the Brahmanical qualities, because to actually become Vaishnava, one needs to be situated in the mode of goodness. Vaishnava is actually above goodness. And goodness, from at least a material point of view, goodness is the specific quality or nature of a Brahmana. It's very interesting how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he speaks about this as well. We were discussing some time back how he has given some very nice instructions, guidelines, how to select or how to identify an individual, or how to classify someone either as a Brahmana, Kshatriya and Vaishya. And he indicates that it is one of the most important duties or responsibilities in the Vedic culture, most important responsibility of Brahmanas, to see that individuals are falling in some particular category. Here Prabhupada uses the word designate. One should be designated. At the same time, we have many verses that say we should not designate. So what to do? In one instruction where Prabhupada was explaining how we should have different courses. We should have special training and courses for Brahmana, a different training and course for Kshatriya, and another training for Vaishya. Whoever cannot take any of these trainings, he will be automatically Shudra. And in explaining this, Prabhupada was telling, when we see that someone is able to receive training of a Brahmana, then he should be designated as a Brahmana. Again, we need to understand that is a material designation. That is a material designation because we are here in the material world and society has to function with people having different roles and responsibilities. And these are the four main basic categories, so to speak. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So the word designate has to be understood in two ways. Number one, externally, we recognize in general society, in a temple situation, it is less, I would say, critical in one sense, because so many different activities and services are there that it's secondary in one sense what Varna, what one may belong to. But in general society, it becomes more, we could say, useful and necessary as well, that individuals belong to some particular category. So externally, as I was trying to explain a few seconds ago, this was one of the most important duties and responsibilities of Brahmanas in a village. Before the age of 15, every young boy knew what his Varna was, regardless of it was not necessarily based on the family in which he was born. Although Bhaktivinoda Thakur does mention that we will generally first tend to designate someone according to the family, according to his birth. But it is not 100% the case. And he goes on to explain that actually the council of Brahmanas, a group of Brahmanas, it's not just one person who would do that. It's like a responsibility of the elder Brahmanas. Nowadays that's not there. So we don't I don't think has anyone here been classified by your local Brahmana? Probably not. Yeah. How many are from village? Okay, about 50%. No local Brahmana in your village? Any Brahmana? One Brahmana. How many Brahmana in your village? Before, yeah. So many. That's why you're here. Your village? One.
There are many Brahmanas.
There are many Brahmanas. But no one ever told you who you were.
He took birth in Vaishya family. He never took the plow.
He took the birth in?
Vaishya family, but he never took the plow.
Oh. Born in Vaishya family, but he doesn't know what is plow. Yeah. So, yeah, that culture basically is unfortunately not followed. But this was, Prabhupada explains also that it's very important in society to know which role or area, what occupation one should be taking. And of course, modern day society makes it very difficult because we have introduced what is known today as non-traditional occupations. Majority of people, including majority of our devotees who are householders and working in some job, they are engaged in what is called non-traditional occupation. Non-traditional means that it is often not according to their nature, and also it is not so conducive for their advancement in spiritual life. Yeah. And Prabhupada would explains many times that within society, if such categorization, if such divisions, natural divisions, are not followed, then society will be in a chaotic condition, as we see today. So that's on one level. Designation needs to be there for society to function, but the other understanding, or the higher understanding, is that even though one may be designated, just like within our ISKCON society, right now we only designate Brahmanas, right? We don't designate anyone else. So sometimes it's a little, when we speak about Varnasrama, then it seems like there's something missing. Actually there is also. But for a devotee, someone who is endeavoring, aspiring to become a Vaishnava, even if he may receive, we say, the sacred thread or Brahmana thread, he knows that he is above actually being a Brahmana. He is accepting this position just temporarily. So on the higher level, on the transcendental platform, we are Das Anudas Anudas Anudas, servant of the servant. We are eternal servants of Krishna. So it means that actually at some point within, let's say, society, as expressed by Srila Prabhupada and as supported here in the Shastra also, we will need to have these natural divisions. Therefore it's important for us to understand about Varnasrama. And this particular verse is directly supporting the verse that Prabhupada quotes of the 4th chapter, that according to guna and karma, So I think we explained before also how the guna and karma for, let's say, a non-practicing devotee will be different than the guna and karma of a practicing devotee. What is the difference between the guna? Let's start with the guna. What will be the guna of a practicing devotee as opposed to the guna of a non-practicing devotee? If we had a chart, actually, it would make it clear. But anyways, we can just try to imagine there's two columns. On one side, we're trying to understand what is meant to be the guna, the quality of a devotee, one side, and what is meant also to be the guna or the quality of a non-devotee. Someone can venture? Huh? Daivik and Asurik. And naturally you will put Asurik on the non-devotee side.
Who is not following
No, it's natural, of course, but the point is that it's not the answer I'm looking for, and it's also not the correct answer, because there are many people who are practicing as devotees, but being not yet pure devotees, they still have some elements of asuric elements. So it's not black and white. You know, it's not that because I have a japa mala, I'm on the, I'm no longer asura. As long as I don't become a pure devotee, I still have different influence of asuric mentality. Anyone else?
Somebody doing his prescribed duties is devotee.
What is the guna, quality of someone who is a non-devotee, as opposed to the guna of someone who is a devotee?
He has no service attitude,
He has service attitude, he has no service attitude. A non-devotee won't know what is service, except if he's working for the government as a servant. That's the level of service.
The devotee's goal is different. He wants to serve the Guru and Krishna.
Devotee's goal is to serve.
Serve and please Guru and Krishna.
And to please Guru and Krishna, yes.
For a non-devotee, it's more about personal satisfaction.
Non-devotee is egocentric, self-centered. Yeah. Okay, what I'm looking for is this, that for a non-devotee, the quality, guna, will vary according to the modes of material nature, isn't it? A non-devotee, he will either have or be influenced by the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, or a mixture. A non-devotee, his guna is directly connected with the modes of material nature. That's one column. The other column, devotee. His guna, of course, in the beginning, may also be under the under the influence of the gunas, but his guna is meant to be developed transcending the gunas, transcending the modes of material nature. His quality of consciousness. Just think about when we say guna, quality of consciousness. The quality of consciousness of a non-devotee is that it is totally on the material platform, and therefore it will be colored by either goodness, passion, or ignorance, isn't it? He will be, his mind will be under the influence of these three modes, and to such an extent, for a non-devotee, the extent is such that he is completely governed, or we could say he's forced to act. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, one is forced to act when one is completely under the modes of material nature. He's forced to act according to the influence under which he was primarily born. But a devotee, his guna or his quality of consciousness is meant to be
Transcending.
That's the word. Yes, transcendental. Yeah, transcending the bodily platform, transcending the modes of material nature. So that is one side. Guna. Guna is clear. Actually, I want to make this comparison because within Guna there's a clear distinction between a non-devotee and a devotee.
Devotee means practicing devotee?
Devotee means practicing devotee.
He has not reached the ultimate perfection.
He may be situated at different levels, but his goal is to actually, if he applies nicely, then he will come to that quality of consciousness where he will not. This is what we were reading just before, isn't it? The first canto of the Bhagavatam. This becoming less and less influenced by the lower modes of nature. Our goal of Vedic culture for everyone is to gradually rise to the mode of goodness, isn't it? And then beyond, of course. So that's guna. Now, if we look at karma, what is a karma? What is a karma? Karma means activity or occupational duty. What is the occupational duty or work of a non-devotee as compared to someone who is a devotee? Yes.
Devotees, for devotees.
Start with the non-devotee.
Non-devotee.
Okay, start with the devotee. That's what's on your mind.
His own karma and only his activity is karma pekam tasya devasya seva.
His activity is?
Like his all activities centered around Krishna, like in Gita Mahatya has stated.
All, for devotee, all his activities are centered on Krishna.
Ta karma pekam tasya devasya seva. Any activity connects.
He can take up any activity.
Any activity which pleases Krishna.
Which pleases Krishna.
Which is.
Do Shudra activities please Krishna?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
If it is as per the scripture.
Yes. Any and all activity which is connected with Krishna is not a material activity. Yeah. And for a non-devotee, karma, occupational duty will be based on the gunas. It will be based on the modes of material nature. Because for a non-devotee, his consciousness is connected with the modes of material nature. Isn't it? A non-devotee's consciousness is connected with the modes of material nature. Therefore, his activity also will be connected with the modes of material nature. But for a devotee, his consciousness is not connected, or he's aspiring to be completely disconnected with the modes of material nature. And as one becomes more and more expert in being disconnected with the modes of material nature, then his activities also they don't necessarily fall within the what is normally equated according to guna. Guna, mode of goodness, brahminical activity. Mode of passion, kshatriya activity, like that. For someone who's a devotee, it may not necessarily fall in that category. However, because even if someone is a devotee, he has to do something. He has to accept some role. He has to accept some responsibility. He will accept that, but minus the karmic reaction that would come otherwise. In other words, just like our prime example is Arjuna. Arjuna, being a kshatriya and a devotee, so he's being encouraged, incited by Krishna that because you're a kshatriya, and also a devotee, then you should perform that activity of a kshatriya, but as a service also. Means when we perform those activities in that higher consciousness, we don't incur or we don't create karma. Those who were not on that level of consciousness, in other words, we can do the same activity. Externally, we can be performing the same activity, but if our consciousness is on the material platform, we generate karmic reaction, and if it is on the transcendental platform, we don't generate karma. That is the difference. That means that externally we cannot so easily understand just by looking at two people performing maybe the same activity. One may be completely devotional and the other one will be binding, creating karma. So therefore we should be cautious to judge people too quickly. Yeah.
So in both you have mentioned consciousness in either of the case.
Yes.
Either it is guna or karma. The karma is the consciousness that I am serving Krishna or as a servant of the Lord, or I am doing it as a service.
Yes, for a devotee, the consciousness is that one is serving the Lord regardless of one's activity.
Hence there is no karma for him.
Hence there is no karma to the extent that we are serving in a high consciousness.
The high consciousness.
Yeah.
And the guna is also because guna is also transcending the bodily platform. It is not as per the...
Yes, the guna for a devotee, guna meaning the quality of consciousness, is transcending one's material situation. That means that a devotee, according to need, according to circumstance, could take up any kind of service. It is not bound as a non-devotee is bound. At the same time, Krishna explains that actually one should not give up. One should not give up activity. Everyone has to act. And Krishna explains in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that I also have to act. I'm also, if it wasn't for me, the whole world would just crash. The whole world would crumble. Krishna, through his different incarnations and energies, is making this whole cosmic manifestation function in an orderly manner, isn't it? So Krishna has explained that even I have to be active, even I have to work, although naturally the Lord is completely aloof and not in any way under the influence of the external energy, but he is acting and making that point to explain that if he is acting, then what to speak of us? We also need to do something. We cannot just be inert. Yeah. So any thoughts on this?
So regarding this devotee, you said he will be transcending the 3 modes.
A devotee is endeavoring to transcend the 3 modes, and a devotee may be situated at different levels, as we understand, Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttam. Yeah, but still he's a devotee.
And karma activity he is doing for the Krishna, so he doesn't incur any reactions.
Karma activity he's doing for Krishna, yes, he's active in very similar, if not identical, activities as non-devotees, but the difference being that he is not creating karmic reaction.
If his, as you said, the quality of his consciousness is
Higher, good,
attempting to transcend the three modes.
yes.
So in that situation, how do we actually designate or say that this person is Brahmana, he is Kshatriya, or is it really required or not?
Okay, so the question is, if a devotee is situated on that high level of transcendence, is it necessary to designate?
And if we do also, how do we designate, and on what basis?
On what basis do we designate? So Prabhupada I was mentioning a little earlier, Prabhupada is explaining that we should designate for the well-functioning of society. And we do that by providing, just like we're doing now in ISKCON. In ISKCON we have different courses, different training, and if one is able to take such training, then he will be recommended for, we say, brahminical initiation or second initiation, right? So we do designate, actually. But a devotee, Prabhupada would further explain that these different roles, for example, in this case, let's say Brahmana role, it is a role very similar to that role that one would take in a drama. We different people have different roles in any kind of drama, and for the drama to be effective, one should play one's role perfectly, as ideally as well as possible. So Prabhupada explains that we as devotees, although we have nothing to do with these modes of material nature, we have nothing to do with this body, and in that sense we have nothing to do with Varnasrama, in that we are above as eternal spirit souls. But because we happen to be here, we happen to have a material body, we have to function within society, we knowingly accept a role, as like in a drama, knowing that I'm not really, today I'm acting as a king in a drama, and I have a helmet, and on the stage everyone who's coming to me, they're offering their obeisances, they're respecting me. But as soon as I walk off the stage, nobody's going to do that. The drama's over. Isn't it? Yeah. So this is the understanding that Prabhupada wanted us to have, that as our drama, we just can't walk off the stage, or whenever we will walk off the stage, we'll leave this body. Our drama goes on as long as we have this body. And therefore we need to understand that in the context of Varnasrama, for a devotee, we accept these different roles so that society can function properly. Although we simultaneously understand that we are above. And that is why in some cases or some situations, for a devotee, it will not be always absolutely necessary to follow all the things in Varnasrama. Having said that, we should qualify that generally one will follow the system of Varna and Asrama. But we are, as devotees, we being situated above Varnasrama, in some, I would say, exceptional situations or cases, we may not follow. Yeah. So, does that clarify a little bit? Still confused. But if we know that we're not actually this body, that we're not actually a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, and we just accept to play the role, then what's the problem?
Playing a role means drama, what role I should play? Who will decide? The director decides?
So that's another question you're asking.
Choice or like how?
You know, who will decide? That's we were talking about this a little earlier. When things are properly in place in society, the individual or those who will decide what role I should play, because he will know my nature, are the brahmanas. Because we don't have this social system in place now, the same principle is there, that devotees need to approach individuals who are, let's say, senior, and who are more knowledgeable about the subject matter of Varnasrama, the subject matter of the gunas, and can help you or anyone else understand their actual role and position. And that will be made more easy once we have different training. It's like once we have the syllabus worked out, a different syllabus, a different training for Brahmana, Kshatriya and Vaishya. And this is what we are meant to introduce in Varnashram College. And this is what we are meant to introduce in Gurukula. And that is why Gurukula and Varnasrama College are so important. You see. So, and because, as we mentioned also the other day, because we have yet to introduce these educational institutions based on Shastra, keeping in mind about the Varna and Ashrama system, which is the standard system in society, therefore there is so much confusion. Therefore there is so much confusion amongst our own devotees. And non-devotees, they have no conception of that. But as devotees, you know, like now we're reading this 7th canto, some portions of the 7th canto, especially the last 5 verses. It is within these 5 chapters, within these last 5 chapters, that we can get a very good understanding about this whole, you know, system of Varna and Ashrama. And it's not the only place in the Bhagavatam. There's a section where Krishna himself speaks about Varnasrama, you know. So it is very important, even though we are sometimes accepting and admitting and understanding that we are above Varnasrama, still, because we are here in the material world, we have to deal with it by accepting different roles and positions. Yes.
Just two verses before this, that is verse number 32. So in that it is mentioned that if one acts in his profession according to his position in the modes of nature and gradually gives up these activities, he attains the Nishkama stage. Nishkama stage.
Yes.
So in purport, Prabhupada writes there, only 2 lines purport. If one gradually gives up his hereditary customs and duties and tries to serve the Supreme Personality of God in his natural position, he is gradually able to become free from these activities and he attains the stage of Nishkama, freedom from material desires. So does that mean that even though somebody is a non-devotee, of course this is especially for the devotee only, so like a non-devotee, like this was just a general saying that sometimes the Brahmanas, they say that this lifetime you are like a Vaishya and this time you do your activity, the next lifetime you look Kshatriya, then you will be Brahmana.
Yes.
So is there any that kind of ladder which was there in the scriptures, that one becomes so?
It's not that it was there. The system is, when one is not fortunate to come in contact with this knowledge of pure bhakti, there is a gradual elevation, gradual progress from the lower modes to the higher modes by agreeing to work within that Krishna designated system of Varnasrama. In other words, and sometimes, as you mentioned, one Brahmana would say, you just stick to your responsibility, and next life you'll be promoted, you'll be advancing. So the whole idea is that, like in the Vedic culture, common people know that, you know, to get disentangled from the modes of material nature takes a long time, takes many lifetimes, and but they will carry on with their duty, not knowing, let's say, about the pure level or the potency of pure bhakti, and they will go on to carry on their various duties and responsibilities, and gradually they will be advancing and progressing. So there is a natural progressing progress, so to speak, that from, okay, in this lifetime, let's say I'm in the lower modes of material nature, and then if I execute those responsibilities and activities, then gradually I will be elevated, and next life I'll become Vaishya, somewhere down the line. Yeah. But if one comes in contact with the pure bhakti, the pure knowledge, the essence of what the Vedic knowledge is giving us, then one can learn to transcend these things. Or externally may still be acting the role, but the guna will change. The karma aspect, you know, if one is, for example, born in a carpenter's family, his father, his grandfather, the whole lineage, they're all carpenters. So in all likelihood he will also, even though he, let's say, becomes enlightened or comes in contact with Krishna consciousness, he may not necessarily remain there, but most people most likely would remain in that external activity, but their guna would change in terms of understanding that I'm an eternal servant of Krishna. So it's not that because I become an eternal servant of Krishna that now I have to do Brahminical activities like that.
So this Niskama stage will be achieved by only one who is a devotee, or even in that case, the other case which you said before this?
No, Niskama stage will only come when one is fortunate to actually come to that platform of knowing about Krishna, of knowing about devotional service. Because there is a gross desire, then subtle desire, isn't it? So until and unless, and that verse is there, what is it? That only Krishna Bhakta Niskama, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakale Ashanta, Krishna Bhakta Niskama Ataiva Shanta. Yeah. So until somebody actually becomes a devotee, means until somebody learns about bhakti, devotional service, then he will have some level or some amount of kama. Yeah.
In this case, in devotee, they will take different roles. If somebody is
devotees will take different roles.
Brahmana and Kshatriya.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody is Shudra, then as you mentioned,
he will take the.
Yeah. But a whole life is doing that Shudra work.
Yes.
But his consciousness is very developed, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Karma remains same. He need not be like Brahmana.
Correct. Yes.
Like that.
Yeah. Means a Shudra in the Vedic culture, in the Vedic context, when we understand this properly, a Shudra can become a pure devotee. It is a very elevated post or position to be a Shudra. We generally see or think of the negative connotation of Shudra, someone in the mode of ignorance. Shudra is someone who is understanding his role and his position as a good servant. The Bhagavatam describes, in this section actually, Narada Muni describes that there are 9 qualities for Shudra. So Prabhupada explains also that unless one is situated somewhere within the system of Varnasrama, he's an animal. So in other words, as soon as one becomes a Shudra, as soon as one becomes situated in the Varnasrama system, he becomes very elevated. He's accepted as civilized. So Prabhupada would explain that to become civilized means to be working or serving within the system of Varnasrama. Yeah. So that means that anyone within that system, regardless of one being situated as a Brahmana, Kshatriya or Shudra, anyone within the system can become completely liberated. Yeah. Because it's on the level of the consciousness. The activity is secondary. Activity is secondary. Yeah.
In terms of his, the same question extending, in terms of his external behavior and all, it will be like all
devotee behavior.
Devotee behavior, four regulative principles.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We'll take it in the back here.
Maharaj, what was the reason of destruction of our Gurukul education and Vedic culture?
What was the reason of the destruction of our Gurukula system
Gurukula and Vedic culture,
and Vedic culture?
and who was responsible for this?
I should give a name?
Someone read that.
Who is that culprit? Hang him.
Some Britishers, some Mughal Shasak like that. So
I think you already know the answer to the question. You just want to air it out. There are many factors, but those are some of the factors. And Prabhupada also explains that the part of the reason is actually we go back to the beginning of Kali Yuga because of the misuse of Brahmanical position or power. So there were many factors. Definitely the more, we could say, recent factor was the Western influence. It wasn't just the British as such who colonized India, but it was the whole package deal that they had. They were part of the westernization, and so the whole Western influence. So it's Kali Yuga working out and having its effect and toll on everyone. It's Kali Yuga, these negative things, destructive things happen, but we have this great fortune that even though it is Kali Yuga, it is not an ordinary Kali Yuga. It is a very unique, rare Kali Yuga period. And due to the advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can change. Otherwise, we would not be able to change the situation. It would simply, continue to deteriorate more and more and more. Now, it's very much deteriorating, or in a deteriorated condition. But we have the mandate, so to speak, of changing that. We have the tools. Our tools are this knowledge. Knowledge is our weapon, isn't it? So if we properly hear and assimilate this knowledge that is given by our acharyas, and that has so expertly been given to all of us by our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, then that is our mission. That is our mission, to actually introduce this knowledge, reintroduce actual Gurukulas, actually reintroduce the what is meant to be the real, unmotivated, unadulterated system of Varna and Asrama, means Daiva Varnasrama, through these educational systems and through these communities in terms of villages that we should be establishing, that will become like models, and that people, when they see ideal children coming out of these traditional educational systems, they will take note, and they will be attracted, and they will want to be part. At least some people, not everybody. Prabhupada did say also that don't expect everyone to become Krishna conscious, although everyone has the ability and the potential, but don't expect everyone to become Krishna conscious, even if 5%. Where 5% is a lot, actually. We're a long way from 5%. But even if a small percentage of society, one devotee, one pure devotee, is like the moon. one pure devotee, like Srila Prabhupada, the whole world totally became transformed, and continues to be transformed also by his potency, by his energy, by his purity, etc. Yeah. Your question, we'll have to wait till tomorrow.
Maybe afterwards.
Afterwards tomorrow.
Personally, I can ask.
Yeah, but not now. Okay, we'll close for now. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Sri Prabhupada ki Jai, Gauda Pimanandi. Rameshwar Prabhupada. We have something very, we have a surprise for everyone. Who likes surprises? Because we have two surprises. One is here, it's our daily surprise. Then we have a very, very special surprise. And it's just now coming. It's been in the making for some time. This is a special photo album that was made. It just arrived today. And Stoka Krishna Prabhu will have the honor to open it and show it to everyone. Yeah, you can come here. You can, from a distance, I guess, yeah, you can see.
Show in the camera.
So this is called Sayadri Parasuram Gurukula. Yeah. Okay. Actually, we have to get mini album. This is a big album. We have to get some smaller ones, you know, yeah, that you can travel with. Jai Sri Prabhupada. This is all waterproof. Actually, it's a high quality lamination. Yeah. This is our pamphlet. Is our, yeah. This is when things were in the beginning stage here, the foundation of the kutir and the foundation of the Vidyapit. Yeah. Different scenes. Oops. Yeah. Those who were present at that time. Yeah. This is what this was like this just a few months ago. Hard to recognize now. So yeah, Raghumishra Prabhu is in there somewhere.
Raghumishra Prabhu is almost there in every picture.
And Prananath Prabhu. Yeah, well he was all over the place. Yeah.
Sesanaga statue.
Yeah.
Where is Sheshnath?
We'll be having, it's in the water right now, we had a whole ceremony and we're going to have a special, in the Gurukul actually, installed actually, after maybe a month or something. Yeah. Yeah, the beginning of construction in the
First
Gurukul.
Bhagavatam class, Maharaj, in Guru.
Oh, Bhagavatam.
First Bhagavatam class.
First Bhagavatam class.
कुछ नहीं किया मेरा फोटो
Yes.
भागवतम सुना वही बड़ी बात.
Yeah.
क्या बना रहे हैं?
Trying to make Roshi Pakul roof.
Yeah.
Tool room.
Tool room.
मट्टी उठा रहे
I think this album we can also have later on our website.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
We can put all the photos.
Yeah.
पहले ऐसा था.
Yeah. They can open it.
गुरुकुल
जब कुछ नहीं
पूरा गुरुकुल ऐसा था.
जब कंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं हुआ था तब का है ऐसा था.
और touch me not, touch me.
पूरा.
This photo, you took this photo, huh? Yeah. He won't say, but yeah, it's a very nice photo. Yeah. It's like, where is this place of paradise with all the coconuts? All the coconut trees. Yeah. Gradually. So after 6 months, they'll come again and make another photo album because things will change.
every 6 months. Because the children, I mean, Gurukula buys.
Yeah. At least once a year, maybe. Yeah.
We hope.
Yeah. So this.
Teacher kutir, kitchen with the pitch, the door of our student kutir.
This door is actually just happens like that. This will be the door for the student kutir. Right? Yeah.
Anand Bazaar.
Most important. Yeah. Headmaster kutir, which is now covered by grass.
Student kutir.
Student kutir, yeah. And Varna is changing every day. You know?
This photo is very nice. This one.
Which one? This one?
Yeah, very nice.
Top view.
Yeah.
Captured by drone.
Somebody sees that where this place.
Only if you're a bird you can see it like that. Or a drone.
Sharavana.
Sarvana. Yeah.
Raghushya Prabhu's cows.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
are looking for photograph.
Some cow pictures are there, and our Hanumanji is there also. We passed him already. Yeah?
In a start.
Okay, at the beginning. Yeah.
Air master kutir roof.
Yeah.
Air condition.
The water.
We have water, white water here. Milk. It's milk actually. Looks like milk. Yeah. This was the beginning of the headmaster kutir, right? Some Gurukul boys who came a few weeks back.
These are the photo there. Under construction.
Yeah.
Oh, this is recent.
Hari
सुबह सलार सही कर रहता है थोड़ा एक्शन कर रहता है
कब निकाला भी पता नहीं कोक
Tulsi is also very nice.
This is a photo of Pajak Kshetra.
Yes. Our first Gurukul excursion. Like, yes. Fresh cow dung.
Under Guru Maharaj kutir.
Yeah. Getting close to the end here. Yeah.
Hari Bo.
Very nice quality. Yeah. Haribol. We'll be taking that to Hyderabad actually.